What's going on, folks? We're back and look at this. This is 2024's SBCs from this channel. It might surprise you to know that we're going to be looking at more SBCs in this video, but it's not going to be these ones and it's not going to be any that we have. So I thought I'd start with a quick recap of all the SBCs we looked at in 2024, considering, you know, this is the last week of the year where we're wrapping up. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to be seeing in 2025, which is pretty exciting. There will be a few notable mentions that I've got over there too. And I do apologize that it sounds like my voice is about 4 octaves lower or something. It actually is. I'm not sure if I'm sick or I've just been talking too much or I'm done with this holiday season, but Jesus Christ, I'm done with this year. But my voice is giving out. So this is what you're getting. We're going to pour a cold drink because it's nice and warm, middle of summer. Going to quickly look at these beautiful, beautiful devices sitting here. I'm going to have links to all of the videos about these below. Some are crapshoots, some are great. And then we'll have a look at what's coming up soon. So stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe for the end of the year thing, especially if you like seeing these reviews. We'll get started in just a second. Time to pour a drink. All right, now I've got a nice cup of spicy cold pink. That's the good stuff. Let's fly through these because you all got the attention span of ants anyway these days. If you want to know more about any of these, there are videos on all of them, as I said, and feel free to leave a comment with any specifics like, can it do this? Does it do this? Don't leave stupid bloody comments like, will you make me that? I'm not making you shit. Do it yourself. So first up at the start of 2024, we had the Orange Pi 02W. Believe it or not, in the last week, I've lost it. It's somewhere in here. I was going to be using it on the 3D printers. Then I didn't. Now it's gone. It's not even in the Orange Pi box because I got all of these boxed up and labeled. For how cheap and how small this is very, very capable. I use it for a lot of prototyping. They're very good. And for me, they've lasted better than the Pi Pico or Pi Zeros have, which keep dying on me. Then we have the Milk 5 Duo 256. So this is an excellent SBC from Milk 5 with the Softgo SG series that has both risc-v and ARM. These, of course, are an embedded Linux board, but they support a camera. They support 10100 Ethernet. They've got SD card, USB-C with on the go, your 26 or so pins, and the option of onboard storage. So those are very useful. I sell a lot of them and I use a lot of them. Oh yeah, I sell heaps of these products too. Mostly the more embedded things. So link to the shop below, check it out. After that, we had the Canon VK230. So this one was good, mixed feelings. I mean, Kendrite sold it to Canon and now they've partnered with Banana Pi to do something else. But this was essentially, oh, it's got a little camera on there I forgot to do much with. This is the first board that came out, or SoC that came out from Canon that had RVV 1.0, so for the full risc-v vectoring instructions. There's only single core though, so performance was let down a little bit, but otherwise a great little board, especially good for testing. Dual CSI, DSI, Ethernet, HDMI, dual USB, 40 pin header, Wi-Fi, camera, it's got the works, quite handy. Then we got stuck into the beagley-fire. This was awesome. I did 2 videos on this. It's got your standard Beagle header. It's got your breakout extensions, a different connector, SD card. I can't remember half this crap. Ethernet, terminal blocks. But the main thing is this has FPGA. So I did a video about this, then I did a video about learning FPGA to kind of program your own processors. And I made something called Blinky because it made these little lights just kind of snaky, sorry, I called it because it just made these make a little snake animation. So that was a really steep but cool learning curve. And this is, I like Beagleboard and what they make. So that was a really cool open source product. On the opposite side of it, we then have the Luckfox Pico Mini B. I sell heaps of them. I use heaps of them myself as well. These run a BusyBox-based Linux, build-root-based Linux with BusyBox. They've got a camera interface, USB-C, bit of onboard storage you can flash, or of course you can use the SPI flash, and they're powered by the RV1103. So that's Cortex. Oh, I can't even remember. There's not much power there, but there's enough for an embedded Linux application for cameras. They've got like 0.5 tops MPU, maybe even 1 tops, I can't remember. Great little board. And Rockchip have their Model Zoo, so lots of different options available there. I also sell these and use a lot of them. We've then got the Radxa 03W. So this I also use for a lot of prototyping. This has got the RK3566, so it's a hell of a lot more powerful than the Orange Pi Zero that they make. So this is really handy. It's got a breakout board I think you can get, but otherwise you've got your expansion interface, SD card, dual USB-C for power, micro or mini HDMI, whatever, Wi-Fi interface. It's got an onboard antenna as well. You just use the overlays to pick what you want, 40 pin header, RAM, SoC, and their little PMC. Very, very good product, very affordable, very good documentation of software support. Straight after that, did the RERA Rock 3 Model A. This actually performed better than I've expected. This now I have running, I got graphics acceleration working on it in that video, and this now runs on a Luckfox display sitting near my computer, just streaming the front camera, because I have random weirdos turning up all the time. Not even because of YouTube, just because my family are random weirdos. So this is a very, very powerful low-cost computer. I don't sell the RERA stuff, but they are great people. Tom Cuby and his team make a huge array of awesome products and support this channel too. I've got more stuff from them coming, but Erase sell these. I will link to Erase as well, even though they're a bit of a competitor. They're based out of Hong Kong. I'm based in Australia. They do RERA and Milk 5. I do Milk 5 and Luckfox, and then I also do like Maker Fabs and Pine 64 and that stuff, and they do other, they've got like really good deals on SD cards and that sort of stuff. So slightly different industry, but good folks. Crushing his team, crushing it. Then we have the Luckfox Pico Pro, I think was the next video I did. So this is the RV1106, so a little bit more powerful than the last one. So a little bit more RAM, RTC battery connector, camera connector, SD card slot, boot and reset button, USB-C, you've got your onboard flash there, and then you have the 10100 network interface. So these are really good for a camera interface. These are kind of designed, and it's unfortunately a very special camera connector, only works with their cameras, but great for PoE camera sort of implementations. And the RV1106 I really like. I didn't find it limiting when doing embedded development, so that was quite good. Moving on, we had the controversial Milk 5 Duo S. This pissed a lot of people off because they advertised a few variants. Base variant, variant with eMMC, variant with Wi-Fi, variant with eMMC and Wi-Fi with PoE support. But they didn't say PoE support to start with, they said with PoE. Now, unfortunately, you do need a PoE hat. The ones with PoE support just had an RJ45 connector that supported it, and that hat came out way later. So I gave away a pile of hats for free. I do still sell these as well, waiting for some more stock to rock up. This also has their little proprietary Milk 5 Duo camera connector, which is slightly different to normal, along with the 15 pin standard Raspberry Pi and a pile of overlays. So you've got your little ARM or risc-v boot selector switch, because it's got the SG2000 on here, I think. Yep. And you got your SD card. So you can use this for a really good pile of prototyping. Pretty much the same pin out in a different form factor, so you're not going to use a standard hat. But a very powerful little device that can do a lot more than you'd expect. OTG and USB 2, of course. So I'm going to have a mouthful of this because I'm already running out of wind, and we've only got through the first line. Luckily, they get bigger. Next up, Milk 5 Mars. This is really cool. I really liked it. What was disappointing in the Mars though is the JH7110 from Star 5. It's a great SoC with the SciFi cores on it, but no RVA 22 or 23, no risc-v vector instructions. It's just a good general purpose all-round risc-v 0.7.1 vectoring, I guess, I think it had, SBC. So affordable, pretty simple, just a little bit. They could have done better, and they are now, don't get me wrong, they are now. So you can actually see the board here. Dual camera connector, M2, 40 pin header, that's your PoE port, power and on the go, HDMI, audio, USB, I think that was gigabit LAN, fan connector, boot selection switches, USB, SD card, I forget what that is, eMMC, LCD interface, eMMC, that's their little PMIC there, I'm not sure what type they use, and the good old Star 5 SoC. Now, the RDE Fogwire, so Tom Cuby sent me one of these. This is a beast. This thing I pulled apart and had a look at and tried a fair bit with, but basically this has got like 32 tops of computing power. It's got a bit of weight to it too. It sucks down about 40 watts. It can be used as a router. It's got WAN and LAN interfaces, PD, USB-C power, USB 3 connections, SD card slot, which is how you flash it. It's got internal storage, and you can add more storage, debug header, but this is just AI in a box. 32 tops is great. You can run pretty much any large language model. You can run Stable Diffusion, XL on there, and it comes with the Casa OS, I think it was, which allows you to like single click install whatever you want. So really good. Then you've got the Banana Pi, BPI, F3. So this is using the new Spacem M1 processor. I think this one was with 16 gig of RAM. Now, I didn't give it full credit. I don't like the idea of having to run a non-standard Linux on it, so I didn't give Buy and Boo a test. I tried out some third-party images. Since then, Buy and Boo has really shot up, and they've released 2.0.02 recently. It might even be past that now. It is a good BSP and a good OS. So this, of course, has a mini PCI interface, which is interesting. Small header, UART, onboard Wi-Fi, SD, HDMI, dual LAN. I think they're 2.5 gig LAN from memory. PoE support, fans, connectors, M.2, the work. So what's really cool about Banana Pi is they're all open source, community driven. So I think it's Sinovoip that manufacture it. We've used the Spacem thingo in it. And also you can see those pins in there. That's for a PoE module. So the Banana Pi PoE module, which I do actually stock and use sometimes. So very extensible, can be used as a router, can be used as a desktop board, can be used as a media center. There are the few non-standard things, so they're using their special PoE header. They've got non-standard GPIOs. They've got the PCIe interface instead of another M2, which is weird. They're using non-standard MIPI, CSI, and DSI. So strange, but very functional. We then move on to the Luckfox Pico Ultra. I think I've got a few of these left now. So the PoE variant of this comes with the bloody PoE module. It's kind of handy, hey? So you can see I've got this one assembled here. You got your split pin header. You're going for that same cracker form factor that was done over here by Milk 5. Quite a handy form factor, albeit a little bit different. USB 2, Ethernet with your PoE, as I said. Wi-Fi built into this one. I've also got eMMC on there. Supports SD card if you want to add it. Supports an LCD and their... actually no, sorry. The one with the built-in eMMC doesn't support SD card from memory. Speaker interface, yeah, camera and LCD. It is using their special camera connector, which I'm not a fan of. But this is also the RV1106. This is a, yeah, G3. So this is a very powerful little device, and it's got onboard microphones too. So, pardon me, I use this for a few different things. I think it is really good though. And yeah, some left in stock. Also, the Pico Max is discounted at the moment if you want to get one. Good discount there. Then Debix sent us their Model C, so this is sweet. And if you have a look at their documentation, this should support Windows on ARM soon. Not your Windows for ARM, like Windows 11 that runs on ARM64, Windows for ARM, which is a more embedded version, but this is an industrial SBC. So I actually ran this in the air fryer and in the freezer, and it performed really well. All in all, I was very impressed with what they created here. They're using, I believe, mostly standard interfaces for your DSI LCD, your camera connector. The only downside was this was a smaller pin pitch. You can see there, I changed the focus slightly, that pin pitch isn't 2.54, it's a bit smaller. So I'll let them know about that. They're good sports, I'll probably revise it in the future. Moving on to Luckfox again, I have more of these left, I have a few left. This is a very powerful compute module. This is the Core 3566, so it's the ROG chip 3566, of course. Few variants. This one's got built-in eMMC and Wi-Fi, and you use it with a carrier board, but this performed very well with when I benchmarked it, and I've got no issues with this whatsoever. After that, we looked at the Duo Module 01. So this is a SG 2002, I think, under there. Basically, it's a Milk 5 Duo fully built out into a slightly bigger than credit card form factor SBC. So you got their proprietary camera interface, a normal camera interface, LCD interface, speaker connectors, TF card, shorter, whatever that is, 26 pin header or so with the PoE support there, spaced appropriately. I believe that's an RTC connector there. What else have we got? We've got our recovery and reset buttons. You've got your straight power connectors there from what I recall. Dual gigabit LAN, I think, USB 2, which is a little bit disappointing, but so be it. You've got your 4-pin stereo plus microphone interface. What's it say on there? 0.5 TOPS NPU, 512 mega RAM, 8 gig eMMC built in, plus you can, of course, expand it. This did have a few little letdowns, but it worked really well. Again, you can switch between ARM and risc-v. Really good for prototyping because it breaks out all of the available interfaces, pretty much except for PCIe, which is the one disappointment. It could have really done with an M2 interface. Other than that, excellent, and you can buy the Duo modules on their own. I don't stock them, I stock this, but quite impressive. Whew, sweating. Pi Pico 2. So this is the RP2350, is it that? 2350A, replacing the Pi Pico. This, taking a new similar approach, has both risc-v and ARM cores as well, and it is built beautifully. This took a long time. Dimitri I'll put a link below if I remember. I did a good article about it. It's basically 5 years and over $1 million of investments. But like all the other Pi Picos, you pretty much plug it straight in. It exposes as storage and you drop your binary on it. And the way the boot sector in this is built is that you can't brick it apparently, and it will detect what software you've dropped on it, like whether you've dropped a risc-v or an ARM image, and it will boot with the appropriate core, which is really neat. I believe they do that by using the GPU blob that boots first, and then that initializes the rest. I don't know too much about it, but I have done a little bit of reading. So we're lucky enough that Raspberry Pi actually sent us this, I think. They sent us a pile of stuff to test out, and it's got the Hazard 3 risc-v cores, which you can find on GitHub. So that's an awesome little device. It's designed to be as a drop-in replacement for the Pi Pico. Everything is meant to be absolutely compatible, but they did make one mistake apparently, which is the impedance on the GPIOs is not the same. So if you have anything that's really sensitive to that resistance or the hardware level, the voltages, that sort of thing, you might want to double check that. Then we started doing more stuff with Spacem. So we looked at this, and then I started talking to them and like, all right, we're going to send you all our stuff. So I was like, sweet. I'm still considering stocking it, but I just can't afford the MOQ that they want at the moment. They did want me to stock all of their stuff to start with, including a massive bloody 2RU server rack. And I said, no, not going to happen. Cynthia has then said I can stock some of it, but I've just committed to more stock from Milk 5 and Luck Fox, so I might in 2025. But this is their Muse Pi, and I was very confused by the naming at first, but so this is the Muse Pi V30. It's got their M1 processor on it. The M1 versus the K1 is just a bit faster, it can be overclocked and whatnot. P1, again, I did let them know that their proprietary CSI and DSI connectors weren't very great. It's very similar to the Duo module where they've created a board that shows off everything the SoC can do. So you've got your RAM and storage built on, that's your PMIC there, USB power plus on the go, HDMI, I've buckled that 3.0, you've got 2.0, dual LAN there, I think that might be 2.5 gig, can't quite remember. You got your short header there, your UART breakout Wi-Fi module there where you put your antennas on it. I don't believe it's got on board. The cool thing is though that it's got dual M2, which is really sweet, plus SD, microphone on board, and I think that's an RTC battery connector. So they're both M-keyed. You can boot from the second one, which might be that one as well, or boot from onboard, or boot from SD, or if you get your U-boot right, you can net boot. Very affordable, very capable device, just not Pi sized. So I thought it was strange that they called it the Spacem Muse Pi. After that, Orange Pi reached out and sent me their CM5 and the CM5 carrier. And you know what? It's an all right carrier. I prefer the WaveShare ones. This works with pretty much any CM4 or 5 connector. And oh my God, somehow I've, bloody hell, that's mangled. I don't even know how. I think I know how I did that. I might be able to fix it, but no, that is not fixable. Ah, well, so be it. Actually, that makes me a little bit sad. So very, very powerful. One of the most powerful processors I've tested yet, and it's the RK3588S. So they do the Orange Pi 5 Max as well, and their baseboard is actually very, very capable. Damn, that's, yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I think I just did that a few minutes ago when I removed this from the carrier by shoving something underneath to dislodge it. So be careful, folks. I've just thrown away about $100. Very capable, but there was a lot of negative reception about this because Orange Pi apparently, I'm not endorsing it or challenging it, I don't know the intricacies or the background discussions, just copy Ambien and rebrand it. Now they of course do have their non-Debian / Ambien releases, but there's a lot of controversy about that. So very, very capable, very powerful, very affordable, very easy to damage, but some controversy there. Next up, we then had the Spacem Muse Card. So the Muse Card is a credit card form factor, which I thought the Muse Pi was going to be. This came with a little case as well. Still M1. You got your standard header there without PoE support. Debug. You're still using their proprietary interfaces. Power, HDMI, LAN, USB 2 and 3. But still, again, you've got your dual M2 on the back, which is really good. So you can do Wi-Fi and storage, dual storage if you want RAID, and I've confirmed that you can boot from it. So I've flashed this one and booted from it using their toolset. Their documentation is in English and Chinese, and there's more and more English coming. So this I was very happy with, and I like what they're doing. They kind of, you know, where the K230 was the first RVV 1.0 that we saw. single core. These guys, I think, were the first multi-core that we saw, and they've also got, so that's RVV 1.0 and RVA 22, I think it had. Very, very good little device. Was pretty happy. Then they sent me a whole bloody laptop. So this is again using their M1 or K1 core. This is a nice laptop, matte screen, good performance, decent storage and RAM. It's got your debug interface on the side, USB 3 and C headphone, SD card, and a factory reset button. And I did a video on this. I even took it apart. Very, very happy. Great product there. All the hardware is mint. There's even room to maybe add things in the future inside it. The software just needs a little bit more on the GPU side and the hardware acceleration, but we've got Chrome running, or Chromium running pretty well. Moving on, we have the RERA Rock 4. Again, I don't stock this, but this was a really sweet product. The 4 SE, I should say. This is kind of my go-to for a lot of stuff now. It is a slightly different design with the SoC on the back. So it's an RK3399, very, very powerful. You got your RAM there. I've got an eMMC I've stuck on. M2 slot sticking outwards is a bit different over the SD card. So you do need a different case for this. You're going to need extended case if you're using the M2. You need a bigger case this way if you're going to put a heatsink on there, which I'd recommend. Down here, I believe that's your that's your RTC battery connector. It's always good having RTC. You got your MIPI CSI and DSI, onboard Wi-Fi, onboard antenna as well. 40-pin header, PoE support. Stock standard, very affordable, very capable, 4 gig of RAM in that one. Well done, RERA. That is an excellent product. We then looked at something new and different from Pine 64, which happens occasionally. They've got a new Pine Note coming out soon, apparently, after a very, very long wait. This is the Oz 64, not to be mixed up with the Ox 64. What's interesting is they've got an SG2000 on this, like a lot of the Milk 5 stuff. This, though, has standard CSI connectors on it, which is very handy. You've then got eMMC, your risc-v switching, or pins to switch between risc-v and ARM. You've got a small DC connector, not a fan of, would much prefer USB-C, Ethernet, USB, RTC connector on there, PoE support. So pretty standard. That's where I lost one of my SD cards. Let's grab that back. Pretty standard, pretty affordable, but as always with Pine 64, very community driven. So you need to know what you're doing usually. But I did also find that most of the other images just work out of the box. So you can grab an image for any other SG2000. Pretty much everything worked. Very confusingly though, the MIPI LCD interface doesn't actually have the connector. Don't know why. We'll see if that gets added in the future. And then the last one that I looked at, which I tried to look at originally but got a DOA one, which I'll talk about in a moment maybe, was the Beagly AI. So this is another Beagle board product, which is made by Seed Studio. Very capable, very powerful little board that I quite liked. So, what I heard the neighbors calling me then. So you got your MIPI interfaces, 40-pin header, fan connector, onboard Wi-Fi, antenna. That's your expansion, I suppose. That's your PCIe. No, that's your PCIe expansion interface, SD card. That's another one of my bloody SD cards I couldn't find. UART connection, I believe that is a speaker connection maybe. I forget off the top of my head. SD card in the back, of course. Stock standard, very Pi 4 style form factor. Very capable, very cool, and it's got a few tops of power. So that's a open source Beagle board, AI board. So the last video was about that. I didn't really show off what it could do. I just kind of went over the board, but I pre-ordered this ages ago and it arrived and I completely forgot about it. So that worked really well. The first one was DOA, but DigiKey just sent me another one. I did have a similar ordeal though with the Milk 5 Melees. So this arrived, I got 2 of them and they were both DOA, unfortunately. This is looking very promising because it's got 4 TOPS MPU, quad core C910s. So again, it could have been better. It's a TH1520 SoC. They were racing to the market and unfortunately they just missed a few little things in my opinion, but it was kind of like the evolution of the, what was the previous one? The Mars. So you kind of got the Duo, the Mars, the Melees, and then the Jupiter that's coming out one day, and the Oasis, which might come out one day. So they're adding more and more power, sticking to that SoftGo or Sophon, I'm not sure which is which of the different series, but it's a shame it was DOA. They gave me my money back. They didn't send me another one. Milk 5 keep meaning to send me stuff and then they don't. They meant to send me this, then I had to buy it myself, and then they were both DOA. They meant to send me a Jupiter, but they forgot, so I haven't tried that. I don't know what their story is. And if you don't know, Milk 5 was actually kind of started by Tom Cuby and his RADGER team moving on to the risc-v sort of platform. So I really like their products. They're a little bit fledgling. Their communication can be hit and miss sometimes, but there are also language barriers, but they are making really good products, and they've got some really cool kind of whack branding, like Space Otters, sweet, whatever. So that's what we looked at this year. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not even ending yet, but that was this year in a nutshell. Links to all of these videos below, or cards up there. I don't know what I'll do with that. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick look at a few things, mostly 2 things coming up, and do some honorable mentions, because 2025 is bound to be an interesting year. And honestly, 2024 has been a shit show for me. I don't know about you, so it can only really go up. Odd that they're missing an inductor on there as well. I wonder why they omitted that. Anyway, I'm going to have a mouthful of this and stand in the freezer for a moment, because I'm sweating my tiny nipples off here. And I'll get back to you in a tick with the future. Righto, let's get on with this. If you just want to skip everything, you can probably read my notes here and figure the rest of it out yourself. If you don't want to skip everything, hang around. We're going to look at a few quick things in this shit show, because this spicy juice is actually getting to me. That's stronger than I thought. So I need to get through this before I fall asleep or die of sweating until I'm dehydrated. I'm still meant to be doing things with the missus this afternoon. It's going to be a big day. So SBCs of 2025, as I said, let's go across and let's have a look at some things that have stood out to me. So jumping over here, we have the Milk 5 Oasis. So we've been waiting on this for a while. I don't know how much you know about it. I pre-ordered it a while ago. Oasis have it listed here. I wish it had a listing date. I pre-ordered it. I think it might not have even been this year, but it's got the SG2380 from Softgo, which is meant to be an amazing SoC. It's got, in theory, 16 cores of the SciFi P670, which is 12 of the P cores at 2.5 gigahertz and 4 of the E cores at 1.6 gigahertz. It's got the hypervisor extensions. It's got RVA22, WorldGuard, and AIA. Look it up if you don't know what that means, 'cause it can't be asked. Unfortunately, it's going to have the Imagination AXT16512 GPU. Now, this is in theory a really good GPU. Issue is the Imagination drivers have not really made it through yet. So we're not seeing full 3D and 2D hardware yet, but we'll see what they bring. It then has a 4 of the SciFi X280 cores to give 32 TOPS TPU. Interestingly though, if we have a look, some places say 32 TOPS, some say 20 TOPS, which has me stumped. So here it says 20 TOPS, right? If we go over here and have a look, it says 32 TOPS at intake. So maybe they're like dividing the difference between the 2 different performances. Oh, that's teraflops they're mentioning there. I'm not too sure, but you know, pretty powerful SoC when you look at it. What I find interesting though, LPDDR5's all good, 256-bit DDRs, excellent, supports ECC. It's only doing 4K 30 FPS decoding though, and it's a little bit limited there, which is definitely interesting. It looks like it's going to do dual display, but it's not entirely clear, and you've got some interfaces there for your cameras. So it's going to be ITX form factor. They say it's, what do they got here? So they support multiple displays, but they don't specify exactly what. But dual 2.5 gigabit LAN is pretty sweet. What else have we got going on? Sorry, I do have notes for this. All right, so there we go. It's got one M key, so PCIe 3.0 X4, so 32 gigabit there. Then they've got an E key for Wi-Fi and a B key for what did they say that's for? 3G and 4G, or 4G and 5G. They've then got a PCIe 16X physical slot with PCIe Gen 3 8X in that slot. So that could definitely be handy for a lot of breakouts, right? Do they have, oh, they got much the same information there. Supports SATA, which is interesting. So they've got 4 SATA ports on board here, and they don't really give you too much. There's been a few leaked pictures, I think, floating around if you wanted to Google them, but 4 SATA ports is definitely interesting. ITX form factor, that looks like that Banana Pi PoE interface, which is interesting. RAM around there, some M2s, front headers, SATA, ATX power, and all your back interfaces. On the back interfaces, it's got, 2.5 gig that I mentioned, ITX. It's got 2 MIPI CSI interfaces, supports microSD and pluggable UFS as well. Interestingly though, it doesn't really have any of the standard headers. It's got 8 DIOs and 2 CAN interfaces. So a bit different there, but you can still pre-order this discount coupon, and it says expected to deliver in Q3. Well, that ship has not only sailed, but it's also sunk. So we'll have to see what happens there. It's $9 for that. $5 will be deducted from your total after the 20% coupon. I don't fully understand. I bought it anyway, just to get going. We'll see what happens when that comes out. I've got mixed feelings about it, but I'm also very excited about something quite similar in a different direction. The ROG Orion 06. Now this is looking, pardon my language, but I can't say it, flippin' powerful. Really, really powerful. This one, someone on Reddit put me onto recently. I emailed Tommy straight away. Tom QB, send me one of these, can you? I'll send you some money in return if need be, but god damn, I have to try this out. You can see very similar form factors. ITX, of course, they've done a few things differently though. Now this is the 6 or the SISH, not too sure, CD8180 SoC. It's also just now known as the 6P1. CD8180 is the code name. This has quad A720s at 2.8 gigahertz, quad A720s at 2.4 gigahertz, and then quad A520s at 1.8 gigahertz. So it's ARM, it's not risc-v, but they haven't done little plus big, they've done little plus medium plus big, which is kind of mental, right? And they're saying this competes with the Apple M1 and the Qualcomm 8CX Gen 3. I don't know if they put that on here. No, but if you, so we'll go back up there, but if you have a look at the 6P1, I think it might have been that one I saw it, the actual information from 6 has this little bit of branding, and I thought this was, come on computer, pretty interesting. So, good article from CNX here, specifies everything about it, very, very good read, including the sick looking case that you can get. I hope Tom sends me one of these. This is what I found interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, besides that competition, it's got the G720 MC10 GPU, which is ARM's 5th gen GPU. Go back up here a little bit, we're getting past all the fun stuff, right? Yeah, where are we? Yeah, all right, there we go, GPU. So really powerful GPU with pretty much all the latest standards built into this fat ass looking SoC there, with pretty stock standard. It looks like 80mm by 80mm heatsink. So you can probably use a 1155, LGA 1155 heatsink on there, to be confirmed, of course. I'm not entirely sure. It's got 30 tops of compute power built in. It's got an NPU that supports, like bfloat 16 is excellent, TF32 as well, 30 tops, but then they've got their heterogeneous computing power across all their cores and the NPU, 45 tops. So that is the biggest number I've bloody seen to date. That is mental. Really looking forward to trying this out. Told Tom what I might do is build out a fat Docker container. I might stick some open platform on there. I'm not even sure what yet, but there's, I think Open Nebula might have been what I was looking at. Open Nebula, is that the one? Yeah, so I was thinking about sticking this on there. Not directly supported, and it might be missing some drivers, but I'll probably grab one of the built-in OSs for this, one of the standard OSs for this, and then install it on top. Only 128-bit LPDDR5, slightly disappointing there, only because Milk5 are out doing it with the 256-bit, up to 64 gig as well, but they make up for it in many other ways, and just because it has that bit interface doesn't mean it's not necessarily going to do it, or that you're going to be able to take advantage of it. So, not necessarily bad there, just different. Here we have our 8K at 60 FPS decode, 8K at 30 FPS encode, with a huge variety of hardware acceleration, different MH256, righto, of different codecs there, which is very good. Because it supports MPEG-4 as well, I guess. No, that's iterated over there. Be curious if anyone knows what this is. Putting it in the typo category, mate. Might let Tom know about that. You've then got up to 4 interfaces, 4 display interfaces at once, which I find pretty interesting. You've got HDMI and DisplayPort on board. You've then got your EDP interface, so your essentially your connector on the board here supports touch, and then your USB Type-C supports DisplayPort alt mode. So 4 displays, all probably in 4K, minimum 30 FPS, if not 60 FPS, is pretty bloody impressive. I like displays, so that's very good. They also went, 4K at 120, whoo, there you go. Dual 5 gig on board, so that's where they've stepped over the norm again. Breaking out of the mold a little bit with dual 5 gig is impressive to say the least. You can see they've got a Realtek controller there too. Wi-Fi 7, which is what you want. However, it's not built in. It's just with an M2 eConnector, and they've done PCIe Gen 4. So that Gen 4 X2 is 32 gigabit or 4 gigabytes per second on that interface there for your E-key. It doesn't have to have Wi-Fi in it. You can stick a whole pile of different things in an E-key connector. You've then got a 16x slot as well. Also only 8x, 16x physical, 8 lane, but Gen 4. So you've got a bit more there too. 64 gigabit or 8 gigabytes per second. That's going to support a good graphics card, like you can stick a Radeon in there. You could stick a multi-gigabit network interface in there. You could probably do some more M2. Radshare actually have a lot of their own accessories for that sort of stuff. So I'll quickly rip that into a new tab. I don't even know. You get an idea of some of them there. They've got all sorts of sick items. Then you've got all your interfaces, your connectors, ITX as well, but it also has that Pi 2 header. So you've got that 40-pin interface there, which was lacking from the Oasis. And then they've got RTC batteries. You know I like that. They've got some standard connectors for your USB-C and your front connector. So it'll go in most stock standard cases. Speaker connectors. I'm running out of breath to talk about what you've got. It's pretty awesome. So I'm really, really excited about trying this out. Standard ATX, standard case support, and then check this out. UEFI support. You can boot it up like you would pretty much everything else. It already supports Debian and Fedora, but there will be Windows, Android, Ubuntu, Deepin, and OpenKylin, whatever the hell that is, coming up. So this is going to be, theoretically, your desktop ARM computer. It's the most powerful one I've seen to date besides nothing. As far as ARM goes, that's a shitload of cores. I am going to build an awesome Docker host out of this. I might even start using it as a machine out here, stick the GPU in it. So there's your 8420, so it's going to give us the dimensions. Wireless A8 module, I've got those in stock. Actually, I do stock these. And it takes your standard 65 watt PD apparently, which I'd missed before. So you can power it with PD or your ATX interface. Does it specify that here? PD power supply. So really, really good. There's some notable mentions as well. Just so you know, I'm not stocking this. You can pre-order it from Erase. Sorry if I mispronounce Erase Crush. I don't mean to. I just don't know how a lot of Eastern stuff is pronounced. Pre-order it through them. I'll, of course, make a video as soon as it comes out. Bit costly, but Jesus Christ, is it going to be worth it. This thing's a beast. Now, last but not least, we're going to move on to some honourable mentions for some very good reasons. First up, Luckfox have released their Lyra, which I think is hilarious because Lyra is my service manager at PCBWay. Oh, that's a name, of course. It is a very nice name, by the way. So this is the RK3506G2, which is a triple core A7 with an M0. So I'm going to be stocking these for the same prices in US dollars. I'm going to be stocking them in my shop, Australian. Don't have an exact release date yet. So what I'll do is I'll open up pre-orders on the shop. There'll be a link below. And for everyone watching this video, I'm going to include a 10% discount. I might lose money on that because I don't know my wholesale price yet. But what's different and what's really cool, besides my internet being slow as dog's balls right now, is that why all, this Pico range, so if we go back here, these are all very camera driven, and the camera's quite good. I've got the cameras there. Good quality camera, showing about the proprietary interface, but they've built very, very good embedded Linux hardware here with great documentation and support, and a great service team. GitHub issues are answered, constantly releasing new builds, camera focused. This is not, popped a key off that, is not camera focused, this is display focused. So interestingly, you can see here, USB interface, reset buttons, castellated GPIO headers, USB interface on board, SD card slot, RK3506, and then a display interface. Because I've ordered a few more of their displays. They're making quite a few different types of really nice displays. I'm not stocking all of them because storage, costs, everything like that. I'll put these up for pre-order as well. I'm not going to bother stocking the headers, but I do have header pins that you can buy and solder on. I do also have a header soldering service. So I'm impressed with these. If you don't know much about them, come have a look at this. Go check out the pre-order. You can basically get it with or without 256 meg storage on board. But Luckfox makes some really, really good products. I've always been happy with the way they engage, with how functional their products are out of the box. I don't know if this is going to come with a USB breakout connector or not in the box. It does support the Rockchip Matrix IO, which is kind of like software-defined GPIOs. It's a little bit hard to explain, but basically 98 interface types multiplexed onto the pins that they have on the board. So very, very handy. Easy to configure. Software is bound to work out of the box, and you can see the default multiplexing there with just so many options. Beautiful product, beautiful documentation, support through their standard excellent wiki. And then as I show you here, if we go and have a look at, crap, I already forgot, what was I waffling on about? Oh yeah, so over on my shop here, shop.plati.ma, I might even change that one day, I don't know what Platima means. But I do have some services in case you're wondering. I'm not sure where I even filed them, but I created these, well, gift cards, past the holiday season, should have told you that before. Assembly and flashing. So if you want something, that great AI generated image, if you want something assembled or flashed or assembled and flashed, I do have this as an add-on where I'll do this for you. So if you got plumber hands and you can't do it yourself or you're not too familiar, I will flash things. You can even just be lazy, as I said, that's fair enough. I'll flash it for you. So I've got a bit of experience in doing it. There is a few requirements around it, but communicate it. I'll make it happen for you as best I can. And as you can see here, their documentation has a lot of great information, and they're pretty clear about exactly how it works with excellent English. Moving on, our notable mentions is there's the RBook. How do you pronounce that? Sounds a bit South African, doesn't it? Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's using the Xiangshan Nano risc-v processor. I'm most likely really massacring that. But what makes that really cool is this is open source. So you can just Google it when you don't know what the hell you're saying. And load up this and you can see, like, this is cool. I love open source. I love that this is risc-v open source as well. Sorry, needed a drink. So that'll be coming out in the near future, but is a pretty neat, very fat looking, pretty neat looking DDR5 8GB AMD built-in GPU, dual 2.5 gig on a notebook. No wonder that's a fat ass chassis. Gesture operations, 14-inch LCD display. The specs are vague, but it looks pretty neat. I'll be very, very curious. They've then also got the Megres coming out. So this is their next ITX after the Oasis. If the Oasis turns up, might even come out before the Oasis. So this one is a little bit different, but it's got the Eswin EIC 7700X. What interests me about this is that it's a 64-bit out of order risc-v CPU. Now, I don't think it's got vector instructions. It's got G, so it's what IMA FD, BCH. It's definitely different, but I think having that out of order pipeline, 13-stage triple issue out of order pipeline is going to make quite a difference in performance. So we're going to have to see what comes from that. Now, that's a new SciFi P. Oh, it's right there, P5500. So they've got the new SciFi RVA 22, but not necessarily RVV, I think. And it's got about 20 tops. So it supports a whole pile of stuff. This should be coming out in 2025. We'll see what happens. Just worth mentioning it though for that out of order instruction. On that note though, there's the Andes Core AX65. Now this is a 64-bit out of order 4-wide 13-stage CPU core. Supports SMP for up to 8 cores, ECC capable, and it's a 12nm fabrication process. Now, for anyone questioning it, yes, 12nm nodes are a little bit umming and ahhing. Since they got small enough, they're not all 12nm. Like all of the lithography half widths aren't 12nm. That's because your gates for different functions are going to be different sizes, but 12nm is essentially still very good. I'm curious to see what this is going to be in. They're saying it's a very high performance core. Outperforms the ARM Cortex A75. So I want to see this on some SBCs in 2025. Please, someone make it happen. You've then got the Spacem X100. So the M1/K1 SoC that we've looked at before is based on the X60, which is their existing core IP. This X100 is knocking it up a notch. So with this is based on the OpenC 910 project, which is pretty awesome, but they've gone a bit further. So it's a 12-stage, 4-issue, out of order with RVA 23. And that makes it interesting. 2.5 top built in, as they say. It's based on the 12nm node as well. And it's likely going to be power efficient. So like what we're looking at here is the Andes Core AX65 is going to be very powerful. Pardon me. Probably for everyday compute. This is also going to be powerful, don't get me wrong, but this is probably going to be very power efficient. Both also support a whole pile of server level interfaces, other new extensions, AI and all of that stuff. So very, very interesting as well. We've then got, lastly, the Muse N1. So coming back to Spacem, doing some cool stuff. This got their risc-v K1X somewhere said, but it just says K1 here. Their P1 PMIC, which I'm still yet to do this with, LPDDR4, USB Type-C, but they're breaking the mold a bit. As you can see, it's a very different shape. It's got 2 gigabit and a 2.5 gigabit there. So your magnetics, your cores, your RAM, your storage, Wi-Fi on board, dual external antennas, USB 2, and your dual M2s again on the back. So definitely breaking the mold. You might want to translate this to English, but I haven't seen this hit any shelves yet, and they are trying to bring this to more Western shops. I've told them to talk to the team at Erase, get some stock in at Erase, because it's just a bit outside my scope, but this is looking pretty interesting. We'll probably start seeing that flow around in 2025. And then lastly, I'm just curious, right? So you've got these SciFi cores, and you've got StarFi making some SoCs. So we did in 2023, I think it was, we did the Vision 5 2. And I'm very curious if they'll do a Vision 5 3. I kind of expect they will, but they've gone AWOL. They're very quiet. I haven't heard from them in some time now. So there is this. This was a very good, very beautiful product. I did speculate about how bloody similar it is to some of the Milk V, sorry, I should say, packaging and everywhere like that. But you never know. There could be 100 different reasons for that. They're using different cores, but they are all Chinese, and they, you know, sharing is caring, and that is very similar with very different technologies inside. So I'll be curious what comes out there. Now though, I've got a fairly good buzz going, so I'm gonna have to run a few laps of the block to sober up, because this stuff is quite excellent. This is pretty much, yeah, the SBCs for 2024 that we got through on this channel, and the SBCs coming up for 2025. So don't forget, I'm gonna have the pre-orders open for the new LuckFox products, and there'll be a link to that below, sponsored by me and my channel. I'd love if you'd support the shop. Now, everyone that does buy that also gets, I think I've got some in here, going to be throwing in these free LuckFox rulers. So I've done a series of LuckFox branded Platima rulers. Every LuckFox order gets one of these, and it will randomly be, not that one. Do I have it in here? No. All right, so there is a white and a black one. You can see the white's got the color silkscreen from PCBWay. It looks beautiful. White or a black one with every LuckFox order, but there would be that 10% discount that you get on, oh, it was right there. There is the gold and black one, which of course looks quite excellent. Look at that. So thank you, LuckFox, for going halvesies in making a bucket load of these rulers with me, and for bringing out good products. Thank all of these SBC vendors. Quick recap: Orange Pi, Milk 5, Can-Am, Beagleboard, Radsha, Milk 5, Debix, Banana Pi, Spacem, Star 5, Raspberry Pi, of course, I guess, Pine 64. I think that's all of them. They just made a few products each. So thank all of you and your teams for supporting this community of embedded developers, Linux enthusiasts, hardware developers, tinkerers, everyone like us. I hope you all had a solid year to some degree at least, and you're looking forward to 2025. If you follow CGP Grey, I've decided my yearly theme, or even just Cortex podcast and branding, my yearly theme for 2025 is going to be productivity. I don't know what that means for this channel, because I actually do a lot of stuff, but productivity, maximum output. We'll see what shape that takes. I'll tell my missus about it when I get home, because she was arguing with me last night, because she told me hers and I haven't told her mine. So I'm in arguing, but it's locked in now. So like, subscribe, leave comments, suggest new products on my shop for me. Pre-order the new LuckFox Lyra if you want to explore something awesome and support the channel. Buy my rulers, my big rulers that aren't free on the shop if you want to support me. I love and appreciate all your feedback, even the stupid ones and even the ones I don't understand. So make the best of the holiday season. Stay safe, stay happy. We'll see you next time. Cheers, folks. And for anyone wondering, I've actually got the Orange Pi CM5 in my desk Pi, so I don't need that connector. but I did manage, if you can get a little closer, oh, that one, I did manage to just push those pins back into place and it fits. So, turns out you need to be careful, but they are a little bit durable. So, save myself another $100.